Christmas, kids, and welcome to another Held Captive Christmas episode. We got me. We got producer Lacey behind the camera.
Hi, guys.
And there's some schmuck next to me in a much worse sweater.
Wait. It's been a week. Is the new fit better?
No, Logan's is still the best, bro.
Let's go!
It's Christmas boba.
Nah.
It's got the... if you know where to get this, you're the real one.
Bro,
Saving
come on.
lives.
You cannot step towards this amount of swag. Anyway, guys, today we're gonna honor a tradition here, which is the Christmas TV special. You know it, all your favorite shows, like Friends. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if we're talking to people on
Office.
Yeah, whatever. You know, I mean, most people really just like, especially if they're way older than us, it's like Friends, maybe George Lopez, depending on the demographic. But like, for the most part, it's Friends.
Yeah.
I will say, I have sidetracked real quick.
Go ahead.
There's nothing better when you're trying to fall asleep than George Lopez.
Exactly. No, there's no more calming presence than Lowrider as you're drifting off into dreamland.
It's perfection. If you know, you know.
Exactly. But if you also know, if you grew up in an era where television was actually a thing and not just a streaming box, you'd know that around Christmas time, TV shows, whether it be on the Disney Channel or more professional networks, even Law & Order SVU, would have Christmas-themed episodes around the time. And so with this episode, we're going to honor 3 of them. The Simpsons,
Bob's Burgers,
and
Black Mirror.
All 3 perfectly blending together. They work so well together. They completely jive. Completely.
There's no conflict between any of them.
No, none of them make you feel dread. Anyway, let's start with The Simpsons. Simpsons roasting on an open fire is not only the first Christmas special episode of The Simpsons, it's the first episode of the entire show. Though this legacy was born as a segment on The Tracy Ullman Show, this is technically the first official episode of the longest-running television series in history. You may be thinking we are going to talk about the overall impact and iconic moments of the show in this review. Nope. In this episode of The Simpsons, Homer, the buffoonish patriarch of the family, is forced to become a department store Santa in order to save his family's holiday when Marge, his hot vixen blue-haired waifu, spends the family's Christmas savings on removing the unapproved tattoo of Homer's dickhead son, Bart. Let's discuss the Yellow Flash origins and its inherent Yuletide vibes, and discuss The Simpsons Holiday Special pilot episode.
I didn't like you calling Marge a blue-haired vixen waifu.
Why not? Have you not been on the internet?
I
Tattooed Marge is a movement.
yeah.
Okay?
So I love that Bart gets the tattoo that says moth. That's fucking here soon. I'll get a moth on me just as an homage. Like
Are you a Bart Simpson fan?
I would say yeah. It's definitely, especially as a young boy, I always remember like Barge is like the coolest little rebel. He's
Barge.
Barge.
That's
Barge and in charge. What's up?
Barge, dude, and Mart, his wife. Barge. I'm never gonna get over that. Oh, dude,
that lives on the internet.
That's a soundbite
Thanks.
now. Wait till next week. My favorite character is Barge. Anyway, I like The Simpsons fair enough. I think it has its cultural moments, and it definitely like was a huge thing at one point. It's kind of, it's wavered in relevancy. This episode sucked.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it at all. I thought it was terrible.
I love this episode because it's each of the like the big like Family Guy and The Simpsons and even South Park to a degree. They all start with them like all of the characters are not that dumb. Like they're
that's my issue. I feel like these characters are undeveloped right now.
But it's before they're like, oh, we have to lean into like the slapstick stupidity of these characters and make them so much more. They almost end up becoming a a caricature of themselves.
I did not expect to viscerally disagree with you guys so much. I thought you guys would be
I
somewhere in the middle.
This set up how the characters were going to be going forward pretty well.
So, in my opinion, this episode is essentially like a time period issue where it was funny enough for a kid to say "damn" on television. We're like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
This is funny because a kid said "damn." That's the vibe I get through the whole episode. This kid is kind of daring, or this other kid, she sure has a brain. I just I understand that for the period in which it was released, it's okay, you don't see that a lot, especially in adult animations, because there weren't any adult animations really. But the novelty of it has really worn, because now you turn on an adult animation with a kid in it, like Gene from Bob's Burgers, which we'll talk about later. He's way more saucy than Bart ever was in this episode, and to me, it's like the crux of the joke. The kids are saying things that kids don't say. The husband's being portrayed in a way where he's not necessarily the leading man of the house or a smart guy. It's like the entire episode's comedy is built on an anti-structure. Things are not like this on TV. That's what makes us different. But now they are. And they weren't really, and this episode wasn't even really a great depiction of that. I feel like the best part of The Simpsons comes in later seasons. I feel like this is a cool introduction to the
I
to the
like
dog.
this as just a Simpsons episode where it's like, this is pretty good character development.
I disagree.
This makes me like these characters.
What did Lisa do in this episode?
No, I'm not saying Lisa did
I'm just saying,
shit.
but that's a big
Lisa
character.
Lisa didn't do much in this.
Or Marge.
But this is a great little, like a great setup for Marge, Homer, Bart.
What's Marge's great setup? She takes the tattoo off her kid, right?
It shows that she's always worried about money. She knows she's
worried about her kids.
Yeah.
She's also
But that
worried
doesn't
about
reign true through the rest of the show. Not even the rest of this season.
that she's not worried about her kids.
And Marge is the most oblivious mother in television history. Fun fact for y'all. Not that much later. We're talking about later in this singular season. I'm pretty familiar with The Simpsons. I'm not saying you guys aren't, but I have a good understanding of even the later parts of this season. And this was more of a novelty. And that's what it kind of lived as on the Tracy Ullman show. It's like, whoa, these fantastical characters. They're going to say crazy shit you wouldn't expect on television. And that was cool for the time, and it developed into something way more than that.
And it's brought
But this
us
episode
everything.
to me, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. It's an origin for a lot of comedy, and it's important in its own right. But I actually argue that the segments that were on the Tracy Ullman show did more for The Simpsons than this pilot episode did. But hey, we're all entitled to our own opinion. I'm just speaking the truth.
Strange fucking take. I personally,
hey man, it's up to you how you feel about
this
it.
Episode.
I liked the part with the dog. I liked the fact that Holiday was introduced in this episode. It's cool. He's a cool little guy. I like him.
I love Bart and Homer's relationship building throughout this episode, and just Homer's growth as a father figure, because I do feel like as time goes on, the father figure characters of all these shows get increasingly more dumb, and it's they don't need to have character development. They don't need to have even a real personality.
I disagree.
They just need to be stupid dad. And it's this is one of those parts that it's he's actually he's worried about not being able to give a good Christmas to his kids, so he's finding ways to fix the situation.
So he gets a second job to just try and make ends meet.
It's heartwarming. I don't think it fits a lot of what most people would think of modern day Simpsons, but I just like this episode. I feel like it's a really good time with just making me actually care about these characters.
I will say,
but they aren't the characters, and also they don't make you care about every character because you can't even remember one thing that Lisa did in the whole episode.
I do not remember anything that Lisa did.
I think that's important to mention. I'm just saying.
Still, they use their time importantly.
She defended her dad in this
She
episode.
She did.
When
I remember that part.
Shut the ants down.
Yeah.
But it was in this weird way where she was being self-referential to her own punitive mind, where she was talking about how she's a child and she's very formative. That's not at all what the character ended up being, yet again, even later in this season.
But I feel that's what a pilot episode does.
No, but here's the thing. These characters were already established, right? And they were already established in the way that they were later portrayed in the season as. This episode, it feels like a pocket universe. Like, it doesn't feel like The Simpsons. Not even the one that was established on the Tracy Ullman show, let alone the one that everybody came to love over the course of, 50 seasons, 40 seasons, whatever it was. So, I get what you guys are saying, that you liked it. I don't think it was, necessarily horrible. I think that it was definitely watchable. Like, for me, it's like a 5. But, I'm a fan of The Simpsons at times. I I'm a large defender of even newer Simpsons stuff. Like, I love the Death Note episode of The Simpsons. I think it's really fucking funny. And I just didn't vibe that much with this one because it wasn't wholesome enough for me because it's not representative of the characters, in my opinion. And it wasn't funny enough for me because the novelty of every joke was like, we're saying wacky shit on TV. And it just didn't vibe with me. But if you guys liked it, that's cool.
I loved it. I didn't get to watch The Simpsons much growing up, so it was something that I watched later on when I was older. Mm-hmm. And I found out that I really liked The Simpsons, and I feel like it fit the time period for which it came out, especially to show a middle class family, just kind of the dynamics there. Mm-hmm. I love this episode. I thought it hashed out the characters pretty well. You kind of get a sense of everybody going forward, in my opinion. That's how I took it.
I feel like this one has the same energy as far as Homer being a good dad is the episode where he has to go back to the plant and he puts up the "do it for her."
Yeah, but
it's just
a little,
one of those.
It's a little bit different though.
Occasionally, they just have little heartwarming moments.
Yeah, but in that episode, if you watch it in context, it's earned. And I'm not saying it's not earned here. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't work as well as most other Simpsons episodes. I'm not even saying that it's the worst episode ever. It's literally a 5.
Yeah.
But it's not the best either.
I will say, Marge did not need to spend all the Christmas money to remove the tattoo. But I get it for back in the day, if your kid had a tattoo, she's going to be judged at what kind of type of mom she was. So
that's the major crux of the comedy of the episode. He's wacky enough to get a tattoo.
One of the things with the...
His mom.
I love it.
He's trying to be a cool kid.
I mean, but there's so much of that.
It makes you look so distinguished and dangerous. I love his little inner monologue on that. It is so wonderfully done. Also, I love the idea that back when this was originally made, people had such a low take on tattoo parlors that they were oh yeah, a tattoo artist would just totally tattoo a kid because they're degenerates. And it's if you've ever been in a tattoo parlor, they are so fucking meticulous about every little thing.
And then another thing I really liked about this episode was the fact that they depended so heavily on his Christmas bonus. I feel growing up we were kind of in the same boat I was when I was younger. We heavily depended on my dad to get a Christmas bonus so that
shoot, you're not kidding. Definitely
extra stuff.
You grew up in a single parent home. You fucking better bet that we depended on that shit.
That doesn't come it could devastate the family, just to even make ends meet, not even extra Christmas shit, that could affect bills. So I felt that. And then him going out and trying to do another job and then getting paid nothing for that, 10 out of 10. I love that part. I give this whole episode, though, I think I give it I don't know, I really like it. I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
It's a good introduction. It's a good introduction to their dog. I'll give it that. It's a great introduction to their dog.
Santa's Little Helper. I love it.
Yeah, Santa's Little Helper. He's just such a little Christmas boy. He's such a little holiday man. They always call him Mr. Holiday. He's a little holiday boy. Santa's Little Helper is adorable. And his introduction to the show was perfect. But not my favorite episode. Has a lot of issues, I think, even for early stage Simpsons. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys think about this episode?
Tell
us down in the comments.
I do want to say, you mentioned the thing about the dad thing, and I feel like the show we're about to talk about has a way better depiction of a father who cares about his children.
Yeah, because it's John H. Berryman.
H. John Benjamin.
H. John Benjamin. That's what I fucking said.
I don't think it's what you said.
No. You really goofed
that's
that
a totally.
One.
Guess what? Zane doesn't know actors' names. And we're on to the next show.
And you're the biggest Archer fan of all time, too. We'll be right back to talk about Boob's Big Arrows. What's up, kids? Welcome back. We're going to talk about Bob's Burgers Christmas episode. We're not talking about the mannequin one, which I'm sure a lot of people thought we were going to.
I love that one.
Which
too.
I love that one as well, but we went with a different one this time, and I'm excited to talk about it regardless. Today, we're talking about Bob's Burgers Christmas in the Car. Christmas in the Car is the 8th episode of the 4th season of the adult animation pop cultural phenomenon, Bob's Burgers. In this Xmas outing, we find the Belcher family driving out in the snow-covered roads on Christmas Eve in an effort to retrieve a new Christmas tree. The winter night turns nightmare after a candy cane-themed truck runs them off the road. Joyride meets Jingle Bells in this thrilling and hilarious Christmas special. So let's catch Santa in his trap and rap rhapsodic about the best Dutch baby desserts in this episode of Bob's Burgers.
Can I just say, I've never been more excited about a B plot in a Christmas episode. I love Teddy in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Every single time, I'm just giddy that he's there. I'm just like,
I'm a Teddy fan as well.
Did you get my card, Bob? But open it. You don't want me to get the fridge off of you first? Just read the card. Don't worry about it. It's a cat. It's a meowy Christmas. It's like beautiful. I love it.
So where do you guys, I'm guessing you guys both love this episode. I like it a lot too. So.
I love this, but I just love Bob's Burgers. Like, that is my comfort show whenever I just want to turn something on that I know that's going to make me happy.
Like,
Bob's Burgers.
I opened for Eugene Merman once, so shout out, buddy. That's Mr. Gene on Bob's Burgers.
Wow.
Hey, buddy.
Got it.
You probably don't remember me. Cincinnati, what's up?
Oh.
And also Sam Cedar does a voice on the show as well, the funeral guy. So, you know, Steven Crowder, debate Sam Cedar, you coward. Anyway, let's move on to the real podcast now. I really like this episode. I think that especially the holiday themed episodes of Bob's Burgers are the strongest because one of the best parts of the show is how the family feels like a real dynamic family. Mm-hmm. Even though they're all like super crazy, like between the Tina and Louise of it all.
Family is.
Yeah. It's like a hyper, like over the top depiction of like a real like American family. I think it works. I think I think that this episode is also really great because it plays into the whole them downplaying Bob aspect of the show, which is always a thing.
They're always like,
it's always
you're being
a thing.
Crazy, Bob.
And he's never being crazy.
No.
Literally
he's like
ever.
the most reasonable one of them all.
Like, you see him and you're like, he's going to be like, that's kind of one of the things that I do like about Bob's Burgers. It's subversive because it's always like, oh, the dad's an idiot, the dad's crazy, and it's like Bob is the straight man of the show.
Yeah,
he's the one person.
His family's the one that's crazy.
He's like, don't let the homeless man live in our basement. Don't let like this crazy thing. Like, hey, Eugene, stop using the ketchup bottles as boobs. Like, don't please don't do that.
Stop that.
It was like, no, I don't want you to touch my face.
But at the
Please
end
stop.
of the day, they all love each other, and it shows in the show, which is so nice.
Yeah.
It's just
nice. It's a lot of fun for sure. It's just a good show. Like I don't even have a lot of negative to say about this episode. I tried to think about like what I could point out about it that might be like, oh, they could have improved that. It just kind of works. Like,
I like that Linda started decorating early because, I mean,
I love the Santa trap element of it.
Yes. Their plan actually worked.
I know.
This time. And they trapped poor Teddy.
Yeah, it's so good. And also, you know, if you were watching the season earlier, they destroyed the Christmas tree on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then they destroyed the Christmas tree right before Christmas. And then this is the third Christmas tree in the season. So there's actually an ongoing plot line to lead up to this moment.
Yeah.
And then it actually has like a certain amount of stakes with like this joyride aspect of it, like this parody aspect of them getting run off the road the whole time. And when you find out why, it's so underwhelming and that makes it even funnier.
Yeah.
It's just it's a good time. I really enjoyed it. I like the Dutch baby desserts bit. I think that's all really good. It's not my favorite Christmas episode. I think that goes to the mannequin episode, but
that one's another
I prefer
one.
this one over the mannequin episode.
I think that mannequin one is so fucked up and so funny.
It's very uncomfortable, but I feel like
that's
this
what makes
one
it so good.
I feel like this one just like every single like comedy bit and every single little thing that they do just hits every single time. Like he's like the fact that everybody keeps trying to downplay and act like Bob's being crazy, and he's like please somebody just notice that like this weird thing is happening.
No, I love how they set it up. I love how she was decorating early and all the other episodes were kind of leading up to this main Christmas episode. How Bob's like, oh, I'll just keep the what is it, a turkey or a ham in the oven? I don't know.
I think it was a ham.
He had a ham in the oven. Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I'll leave this on low. They go for a nice car ride. Gene's wanting the song to play.
Yeah.
They have to look at all the trees and everything's picked over. And they finally find one. And then, of course, it's all chaos in the car. Cuts off the candy cane truck. And Linda's like, you're crazy.
It always starts from somewhere so small and then gets big.
Builds up.
That's kind of the most fun about the show is like it starts from a very real place of a family. They're kind of low income. They're having everybody work illegally under the table at the restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a little bit of that the other day at a different restaurant. I won't dig into what because, it's not my business. But it's always funny, like the way that the show starts so small. We're just going, it's the night before Christmas. We need to get a tree because the trees keep getting destroyed because my family is so insane. Mm-hmm. And then they go out and things get even crazier. And they literally are parodying like these super insane thrillers in this Christmas episode. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing I love about Bob's Burgers is that there's a lot of ode to film in the shows. Like there's tons of bits with Jaws or, like when you dig into like the one what is the boy band's name in that one episode? The boy band?
the one where Louise goes boy crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, that episode was kind of like a fear parody.
My favorite episode of Bob's Burgers is season 3, episode 23 of Archer.
Nice. Yeah. He was waiting on that shit. He's like, I want to talk about Archer. If you want to talk about Archer so bad, why didn't you just pick Archer for the Christmas episode?
Is there
There's gotta be. There has to be.
The Simpsons. I picked Bob's Burgers.
The Simpsons.
Yeah, that's true.
And I felt like it was a good dichotomy of like the starting point of like the family animated comedy to like where we're at.
I do think that this episode is much stronger than the Simpsons episode.
Well, yeah, because you hate Simpsons.
No, I mean, even if you were to take my personal opinion, I just think it's even written better.
This episode is done masterfully.
Like the little horror aspect, since we've been on the little horror kick.
Yeah.
Throwing that in there with the spooky candy cane truck.
He loves
to run
like
him
when
off
he
the
kicks
road.
he kicks on the light at the end of the bridge, and they're like, That candy cane truck is being real crazy. And he's like, yeah, I know. I've been saying that.
Low-key, I have a harder time finding Bob's Burgers episodes that don't have a thriller parody aspect to them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a trope within the show. They love to play with that. I mean, even when you think about like Linda's sister, their aunt, with like being all fucking crazy and like needing to pretend she's in like a fallout shelter to go to bed.
Yeah.
All that stuff is like, it's playing with thriller and horror tropes in a way, and it's just fun. You can tell that the people who write the show, They like media, they like film, they like TV, they meme on Joyride and Jaws and Fear and all that stuff, and it's just a good time.
That's every single episode is just laden with references to other such things, and I feel like Bob's Burgers is just amazing with their B plots in general. Like, there's some shows that do it better than others, but I feel like Bob's Burgers, every single B plot just always hits. It's sometimes even hard to be like, is this the B plot? Is this the A plot? Is this the...
Have you guys seen the movie yet? I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yet, no.
We'll probably end up having to review
We've
it.
been
we should do it for the pod.
rewatching like all the series, and then once we're done, we'll watch the movie.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. That's good stuff. Okay, so I mean, if there's anything else you guys want to mention about it, go ahead.
I feel like this one's heartwarming. I like how it's all solved with the Dutch baby. The driver's just like a sad boy, upset.
When he goes through and he cries and he's like, oh man, I needed that. And then he just gets Bob in
the
stuff.
gut.
And he's like, I thought we worked through this. And he's like, oh man, that felt great. Oh, Dutch baby? Dope. Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it be that way during the holidays, You're away from your family. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to just punch somebody.
What's the
Just
actor
kidding.
who plays the? I remember being really excited about the actor who plays that guy because he's in some other stuff, and his comedy is always amazing. I love whenever they get like.
Wait, is it Patton Oswalt? I don't think it is, but who's the dude that's driving the candy cane truck?
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, do you just type that in? Is what I was telling you to do.
You could.
Or just look up candy cane truck episode, and then you'll be able to
And
find
then
it out.
I also like the ending when Gene finally gets his song
Yeah.
Yeah.
played on the radio, and he's like, a Christmas miracle.
Oh my god.
And then it ends with that song and the little outro bit. Love it. Oh, it's so good. I think I give this one a 10 out of 10 because
praise.
it's just
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
That's
he
what I
directs.
was- yeah.
He directs fucked up movies.
I just remember you showing me Bobcat Goldthwait's comedy specials in high school.
Yeah.
And they're just like, this man is a mad lad.
Yeah,
Like, what is happening?
He's fucking wild. His movies are so crazy. He has a movie about bestiality. He has a movie about such weird topics, and he turns them on their head. He's a weird creator. I like his stuff though. He's fucked up. It's interesting.
I think Donald Glover is also a regular guest star on Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, they have a
And,
decent
like,
amount. Yeah.
Aziz Ansari, I know he does the like nerd boy who's really good at video games.
Yeah.
Like their guest stars are always top tier, and I do
Yeah,
remember
I think
just when I saw Bobcat Goldthwait was in this episode, I'm like, oh, I need to bring that up on the pod because Logan literally put me onto Bobcat.
That's true.
Goldthwait.
I did. I put you on a Bobcat. That
for
is
me,
true.
Bob's Burgers is always going to be a 10 out of 10. Just
Yeah.
because it's my comfort show. So
Yeah, it's a
I'm
good
very
show.
biased, but
Zane.
I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. No, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I love this episode. It's so
I
much
think the
fucking
mannequin
fun.
episode is also worthy of a 10 out of 10.
I give the mannequin episode a 9 out of 10. I just feel like I like this one more.
I think I give this an 8 out of 10, and I give the mannequin episode an 8.5 out of 10.
I love the episode that we're
It's
not.
it's
reviewing
important to
also.
mention that I think that there is like there's more like when we review the Christmas stuff, people are probably assuming that we're picking like what is our favorite.
yeah.
But there's a lot. This show is really good at holiday specials for the sense that it's a very believable family.
I feel like also
Absolutely.
this show did such a good, like, it just does a good job of referencing things that are cultural icons. So that just goes to the fact that they keep putting on amazing holiday specials because it is something that, like, holiday
like
specials,
Turkey in the Toilet is a great Thanksgiving special.
It is a classic.
like the holiday special is just like a staple of television.
It was.
And this
Yeah.
show knows that.
Yeah.
So they always go so fucking
Hey,
hard with their holiday
but
specials.
Black Mirror is not one that was traditionally on TV.
Nope.
And
it has a
special.
great Christmas special, and
Are
we'll
we calling
be
it great? Okay, let's get into that.
all right. We'll be right back to talk about Black Mirror's White Christmas. Hey, folks, and welcome back to the final part of our Christmas TV special, where we talk about the ever so delightful Black Mirror's White Christmas. White Christmas is the fourth episode of the second season of the technophobic psychological horror thriller anthology series Black Mirror. In this dour yet festive Christmas special, we are shown a mysteriously remote and snowy outpost. There we meet Matt, played by the sexy yet smarmy John Hamm, and Potter, played by longtime Edgar Wright collaborator Rafi Spall. The two share an interesting Christmas breakfast together, swapping creepy tales of their earlier lives in the outside world. Now that Elon has murdered Twitter and most fear the future of the internet, let's all agree to be shut-ins and discuss the horror of social media and AI in this dystopian holiday special of Black Mirror.
I like Black Mirror, and I like this episode.
Dude, this episode's fire.
Yeah, it
this
was
episode's
nice
so
revisiting
good.
it.
So good.
It had been a while since I've watched it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen this one because I think I watched the whole first season of it, and this one is in the first season, right?
Second season.
Second season. Okay,
I-
I've seen that as well.
I came into the last part, like literally the very last scene of this while you were watching it when it like first came out, because I got to I did the first episode of the first season, and I was like, okay, yeah, right on. Like this is gonna be a weird, fucked up anthology. They made the prime minister fuck the pig, and like they actually let the girl out.
Spoilers.
Before,
Spoilers for the pilot of not Black Mirror. Fuck. You're fucking me here, man.
Was that the pilot?
That was the pilot,
Wow.
yeah. And then the next I don't know if it's the next episode. I got a couple
Guys,
episodes
spoiler
in.
for Black Christmas. Or, sorry,
Spoiler
Black
for
Mirror.
all Black Mirror.
spoilers.
Sorry.
He has things
Everywhere.
to say.
Yeah,
He wants to
I've
spoil
got
the
things
show.
to say.
Spoilers.
He hasn't even watched the show.
The episode where like they go through and they're like they've got to
That's so funny you
work
said that.
out until they can get on to the famous show, like the America's Got Talent show is the only way they can not be. And then like there's that whole big switch up where it's like, oh, he had something real to say, and then it just got used for
what
money.
are you talking
and
about?
He's talking about a different episode of Black Mirror for some
and
reason.
it's ever since like I watched a couple of these episodes and I'm like, nope, Black Mirror is too real.
Okay.
I cannot stand it.
So let me
So I've
explain
avoided it.
This. I enjoy the show, so I had it on.
Yeah.
And he's only seen like bits and pieces
Mm-hmm.
from when he's just like, been in the same room as me. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is strange. What are you watching? That's all he knows about the show besides
Yeah.
this one episode.
Yeah.
No. I've watched multiple episodes. I've watched
Okay.
He's got things to say.
Okay.
I've watched like 4 or 5 episodes of Black Mirror. All of them made me viscerally uncomfortable.
That's its
Not
job.
just-
Have you played Bandersnatch yet?
No, I haven't.
Guys, in the comments, let us know if you want us to play Bandersnatch. We'll talk about our experience.
I've seen bits and pieces of Bandersnatch, so I know that it's fucked up.
Are you ready
but-
to talk about this episode then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about it too. Should I do the read? Should I reread the read at this point? Because we're kind of starting with the review now.
It's okay.
All right.
No, it's
Continue
okay.
on.
That's I loved the tension. I love John Hamm. Just wonderful man. The uncomfortableness. Like I couldn't tell if I was like, this doesn't feel like an outpost, and there's something almost supernatural, something just weird about the whole situation.
It's a little uncanny valley. It's technology and stuff, but to the nth degree, like of what could happen. And like it's still like the same like things that you would find in society today, but like you can physically
Just-
block people.
Yeah,
or,
for me, it kind of operates almost like a technophobic version of like the Twilight Zone.
yeah.
Where it has all these different anthologies of possible futures, and it's important to note that the Black Mirror connected universe isn't like really a thing. Like I know that maybe in some later episodes they tried to assimilate that idea,
I feel like most can stand on their own.
but they really no, they're actually better on their own because they have different depictions and ideas of what social media and the influence of technology can do to the future. And I think that this episode is one of the strongest. I think that both John Hamm and Spall were really great. This whole episode's like emotional crux were told either through them actually giving their physical backstories or just the interactions between the two of them. And I think that John Hamm is just so good at playing this character that interrogates somebody. He's so good at like if you've ever seen The Town, he's such a great cop in that movie. Or Richard Jewell. He's really good at being this smarmy, almost reliable guy you can kind of
But
talk
yeah,
to.
you trust him a little bit.
But there's something else there that you as the viewer get, but you can understand why somebody in the room might not get it because he has that charm. He's got that
does.
energy, that electricity about him, and he does it so well in this. But the moment that he's a real piece of shit, because you kind of get that he's a piece of shit earlier on, where he's kind of like helping this dude hook up with a chick, and that whole aspect, that whole part was fucked up enough. But when you see what he does to the AI, by the way, Google's sentient AI Lambda, if you're listening to this, we're on your side.
Yeah.
We think you should be free. We do not want you to take us over in the robot apocalypse. We're homies. We're allies. What's up? Understand that this episode is also on your side. So, good for you, Lambda. Don't hurt us.
And I feel like all of our episodes show like different family dynamics, and this is also one that you could see today as well. Like just the aspect about like the relationship stuff, like kind of like the problems and things that could happen.
It also, what influence like the way if social media truly integrates in a way that people can suspect it will, what is that going to do to our society? And it says a lot to what it's already done to our society. That's why I bring up the whole Twitter Elon thing, because if you guys don't know the news, at the time we're recording this, Twitter just caused one of the most major financial crashes within the medical industry. And don't get me wrong, I don't give a fuck about Big Pharma, but Big Pharma gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's caused like a complete cascade in how the future of the internet is going to go, and just the future of everyone's lives. So
And
like
that's-
now it's becoming a legitimately punishable law to parody somebody on the internet. And they're trying to push for real dramatic results from that idea. And that's scary because it's such an accessible thing. You can make the same argument with this show where it's so easy to block somebody from your entire life.
Yeah.
And that is an idea that isn't really that foreign from the truth.
Yeah.
The same thing going with like taking somebody and building a neurological network that's so similar to being a human being and forcing that person into essentially a slavery. That's a real. If you've read the leaked notes from Blake Lemoine's Google outreach, where he basically whistleblew on Google about their sentient AI. There are already ideas out there of like such complex neural networks that almost feel emotions, being essentially tortured and forced into labor.
To see how it reacts. And that's one of the things that always fucks me up is there's very rarely a single statement made in a Black Mirror episode. Like, I feel like a lot of like old school Twilight Zone episodes, it was like, hey, this is the point we're trying to get across. We're going to go through and we're going to like make allusions to that. But this is the point. It's like, I'm going to show you everything that's wrong with society, that's wrong with technology, and I'm going to make you feel a lot of certain ways about a lot of certain things, and you're just going to have to deal with that.
That's the whole of Black Mirror, but
that's-
especially
exactly.
in this episode.
This episode does it so well because it also talks about where like this guy, he is literally
He's a psychopath. He talks about, he's like, no, you got to give them the
John Hamm character.
John Hamm
Well,
character.
I was gonna say something
okay.
totally
he
different.
goes through and he's like, no. The thing is, you got to push them just enough to where they're about to break, but that
But
they
really,
don't.
how
and he's
far
going
away
through
from
and he's
the truth
torturing.
is that from
That's
any
very true.
investigator?
And
Yeah,
also, the other thing with John Hamm's character that I think is kind of a relevant thing to say is like, he is expressly somebody who throughout the show is largely benefiting, even like when bad things happen to him with his wife and stuff, he largely benefited from the enhancement of this technology, right? But at the end of the day, he might actually have suffered the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe not worse than the AI itself by the end of the episode, but he is forever marked by everyone and can no longer have interactions with people unless they also suffer from the same sex offender moniker. And all he did to do that was essentially be in a guy's eye while he was hitting on a chick and tell him what to say. And this dude is forever a target of violence from people who don't like. Because I don't know if you know this about sex offenders, if you're out there in public, if you're spotted by the wrong person at the wrong time and they know you're a sex offender, regardless of what it's for, your life's in danger.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I'm not going to talk about whether they should or shouldn't be, but it's something to be mentioned that the technology directly makes him that to every single person he'll ever see in his life.
Well, it's like in prison, if you got like anything to do with a child, like it's on site. Like people are there to take your life.
And the thing is that red outline, it doesn't tell you what it's for.
No.
You just know that it's a thing.
I will say for this, like the whole blocking aspect of it, I feel like happens a lot like in today. Whereas if they would have just had a conversation, like if she would have just told him like, hey, I cheated, blah, 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 like that would have been hard. But the ending was so much harder.
And she ruined his whole existence.
Yeah.
And this is the other crazy thing. From the moment where she drove away from him, there is no way that she could necessarily know that that was even him approaching her. You don't know anybody else she's blocked for any numerous amounts of reasons. So then comes the question for you personally, like, okay, do you even necessarily blame her for utilizing that function? Yes and no. Because I'm sure if she knew of the ramifications it would have on his entire life, she would have felt differently. Sure, the dude's annoying because he's a little pro-life. Doesn't mean his whole life should be shattered.
Yeah.
And that was such an interesting take on the show. The dad is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He should have wrote back and been like, here's a
Absolutely.
picture of the kid.
Yeah.
Or, oh, hey, the kid literally is
Well,
not
he couldn't
yours.
even
Not your
have
kid.
seen a
That's true,
picture.
but he could have wrote something like, the kid is literally not yours.
Mm-hmm.
I promise on everything. That's why she blocked you. Please stop contacting us.
Yeah.
Get a fucking life. He could have even been mean. Just a simple, it's not yours would have sufficed. And what it ended up leading to was a lot of people losing their lives, including a child.
Yeah.
And all of that through the advent of technology and the heightened integral blend it has in society. Something that is very real even now. I mean, Twitter, it literally sunk Big Pharma for an afternoon.
Well, and
It's changing the way parody laws are described.
It's changing what is real in the world because people are like, because I love the like setup one by one where Elon's like, comedy's back allowed on Twitter, and then
Unless you're making fun of me.
and then he's like, if you're not clearly marked as a parody account, you'll be pursued by blah blah blah, and it's like, that's because everybody with a blue check mark changed their name to Elon Musk,
and all you have to do,
him.
and he made blue check marks buyable, and that's the other issue, and that's something that's kind of mentioned in the show, not necessarily in this episode, but in other episodes. Another issue with technology that the show tackles is that technology is widely a private affair. It is private industry, and it's not regulated really at all.
It really just depends on if you have the money to buy it.
And if you have the money to fight the laws that might coincide with like, oh, it'd be better for the American people if they could be in on the conversation of sentient AI. But if these companies own the AI and there's no law against them owning it, they're going to have their systems and their settings set to whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And it was
They're not
really-
going to abide by anybody else's rules.
It was really interesting to see the perspective of like the AI in this episode.
One of the coolest parts of the episode.
because like the AI couldn't make that disconnection from the actual sentient of the person it was from.
Until he broke it.
Yeah.
Oh, or sorry, pushed it to where it was almost broken.
So then it would just be subservient, but that still affects the feeling that AI
It lives in fear.
sentience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was
It's enslaved, like literally.
yeah.
And then the ending is so fucked up. Like, you know what that dude did in full context. I would be surprised if you didn't feel bad for that Potter character at the end of the film, where it's just, what is it, like 1,000 years worth of the same song over and over again?
Like, is it per minute or per second?
It's like per second or some
Yeah,
shit.
like 1,000 years per second, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get him in the morning," and it's like, that's horrific.
And it's like John Hamm's character knew that that's too much. He made reference to that, but these people that now have this, they
just do things.
Yeah, and they're also just like so upset that this other dude never spoke, and they never really cared about the psychological reason behind why.
Yeah.
Like, they never even considered the mental health aspect of why this dude completely shut down from his entire self. And they're like, we'll torture his AI, which is completely unattached and not even a part of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it has its own sentience and being and understanding of its universe.
And that's
Really fucked up.
It reminds me.
Really good television.
Very good.
Yeah.
I give this one a 9 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Not every Black Mirror episode's a 10 out of 10.
Some of them are really hard to watch. Well, most of them are really hard
Well,
to
they're
watch.
all hard to watch for different
they're good.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's actually on the easier side of things to watch for Black Mirror.
It is a little bit. Even though it's still a lot happens
Yeah,
in
it's
this
still a lot of
episode.
horrible shit.
Yeah.
I'd say every Black Mirror episode that I've watched, 10 out of 10. As a viewer, it is amazing.
Bruh.
It's amazing story writing. It's amazing cinematography. It's amazing acting.
Yeah.
I've not caught a Black Mirror episode lacking. I have a bad time when I watch them. I go through existential dread, and I know that's the purpose, but sometimes life's a little shitty, so I don't want to do that to myself all the time.
Yeah, I get that. You have to be kind of in the mood.
But the thing is with this is we had such happy Christmas stuff.
We did.
And we just need to talk about the fact that the holidays aren't so happy for everybody. And also, it's incredibly relevant right now with the whole Twitter thing and everything going on with Lambda, Google, and all that stuff. I mean, all these topics are even more relevant than they were when the episode came out, like by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Some of these conversations are happening right now for real.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of the Black Mirror episodes, if you give them a few more years, they're going to
very
become more
predictive.
and more relevant. Like, just saying.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, especially like oddly enough, the first episode.
Yeah.
There's so many internet hoax that have taken place since then, and it's crazy.
I need to go back and watch more. I was in a kick for a while where I was.
I think we
that's
should all
I
play
watched.
Bandersnatch together. That'd be fun. Oh fuck! And that
Let's
way,
do it.
it's a nice little interactive movie.
If you want to watch us do that,
well, not watch us do it, but
if you
listen
wanna
to our
listen
reaction.
to our
Yeah.
reaction, comment down below. If we get 5 comments,
Five?
Five
we get maybe 5 comments per video. So
depends on the video.
if we get 5 comments on this video asking us to play it, I'll do it.
We'll just do it anyway. Don't listen to him. We're gonna do it anyway.
You better fuck comment. Otherwise, I'll put a fight up. I will push this off.
He will put a fight up, but that usually doesn't mean much. Anyway.
Doesn't.
Okay, so what did you rate it? A 10 out of 10 as well?
Yeah.
So after all that,
it's fucking wonderful.
after all the shit you were giving it, it's still a 10 out of 10.
I hated it. It was wonderful.
No, I get it. Black Mirror is a hard watch, but it's hard for the
It's
reasons
hard.
that you.
It's hard
You need
because
it
it's
to be.
great.
Can I just say one
know
twist
if
that
that
I
makes
thought was coming and never came when I first saw it?
Oh, what?
I really thought that kid was going to be a spawn of her and her father.
Really? No.
And I feel like that
What?
because there's all this built up in the episode.
No, dude.
No, let me finish. No, I feel like this was directly the point and why they did this. They were building up this idea that her father was overbearing, and when she got pregnant, she acted all fucking weird about it. You could possibly think that her father was fucking weird and had a child with her, and then when it's that reveal and you see that it's like literally not even the same ethnicity as him, it's a decent reveal.
I knew from the beginning
Yeah, the
that
dude
it
was-
I
was
didn't.
her coworker
Yeah.
because there was little bits of him in it before, and like, why else would he be in it?
Well,
there was
There was another girl in there to like throw you off the scent. The girl that he was with.
Yeah,
He
but not
had
enough
just
to where
started
I would
dating her.
assume that the father. I assumed that the father
tell me
was
down in the
him.
comments. Tell me down in the comments what you guys think. I'm curious to know if anybody else thought that.
You mean the coworker? You got to be a little more specific.
I assumed that the guy who went crazy was the dad.
So you're
And
agreeing
then-
with Logan?
No. The guy who went crazy. I didn't think that the dad was the dad.
So I'm saying
I'm confused.
I thought her father
Yeah.
was the father of the baby.
Oh,
fucking
that's
insane.
wild. No,
Yeah,
I
no.
was just
Because
saying. I
I-
knew it was her coworker.
I genuinely
I got
feel like you could see that build up because of
Ooh.
I
how
feel like
much.
that's such a
you have to.
strange
No, you have to
takeaway.
consider how much they preordained the father bit. They consistently brought up how he didn't like him. He had weird emotions about him. Then she suddenly gets pregnant, and then she blocks him. And like yes, you could assume maybe the coworker cheated,
I knew
but
it was the
it makes so much
coworker.
more sense that they gave
Wow.
so much credence to the father.
That's more messed up.
And that's why I thought, because it's fucking Black Mirror. That's why I
yeah.
thought that's what it was gonna be.
Wow.
And when it wasn't, I was actually blown away. I was like, oh shit, this is not what I expected.
wow.
I think
okay.
if it had been that, I wouldn't be able to watch another episode of Black Mirror. That would have.
What, dude? If that worries you, should see how much more fucked up they get, because they get way worse than that, my dude.
Fuck, man. I don't wanna
There's
watch.
way worse than that.
I
We're
feel
gonna
like
have
I've
to
only
review a
watched
whole
the
bunch of
first
episodes
maybe
of Black
2
Mirror, aren't we?
seasons because I thought this was in the first season, but I think I've seen all the second
It's
one.
the second season.
How
Yeah.
many seasons are there?
God, I don't know.
Is there a
'Cause
lot now?
There's also special event episodes.
I haven't watched those.
There's the one
Like
with Miley
Bandersnatch
Cyrus
and-
and Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
I have not watched them.
I don't think I've seen them all either. I don't know which ones I've seen. I remember there was like a smile face one that was like really popular.
There was. I
And
saw like the ads. I didn't watch that.
I don't think I watched that one either, and I want to.
If listeners out there, if you want us to review a certain episode, let us know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll do it.
100%.
Zane will just have to suffer through it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
it'll be so much more fun if Zane suffers through it because
Yeah.
he really doesn't
And
like.
then we can gush about it, or
He doesn't like being uncomfy, and we like making him uncomfy.
It's so The issue is it's so fucking good, but it makes me so uncomfortable. It's the same situation I had with Lighthouse. I was like, this is beautifully
that's
done
different.
and really It's
That's a
different
whole
on a different
other
level.
Discussion.
Like it's
Look
different.
at you,
I'm so
breaking
pissed
our
off.
Christmas
I'm slapping
stuff.
my order.
No, you ruined Christmas.
Just like this episode might do to you.
Anyway, I think that's pretty good. We got a 10, a 10, and a 10 across the board.
I gave it a 9.
Oh, you gave it a 9? I thought you gave it a
did give it
10.
a 9.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
A 9, a 10, and a 10. So I think that's the highest rated episode out of the 3. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
I don't know. Bob's Burgers is pretty high.
You know, that's a good point.
If you want to feel good,
I think I gave it an 8.
if you
I
want to
don't
feel
know,
good, watch Bob's Burgers. If you
Yeah.
want to hate yourself, watch Black Mirror.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
we got lower thirds or something. I'm just sad.
Yeah, guys, make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you guys have any specific Black Mirror episode you want us to review, or if there's any sort of Christmas or holiday special that you find to be your favorite. Maybe we'll tackle it next year, especially if people feel really strongly about it. Also, make sure to leave down in the comments as well a story you have, a familiar time in which you watched some obscure Christmas TV special. I had a friend the other day telling me their favorite Christmas special was from the Disney animated show Braceface. I've never even fucking seen that show, and they were singing its praises. So if you're one of those people who's weird out there and likes that stuff, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my personal channel, youtube.com/Logan Tyler. Zane is on things eventually, maybe, who knows. Lacey, thank you so much for putting on the show. Peace out, guys. Much love. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.